A hotel made in Dubai unlocks room 230 to find a man lying still on the bed. A medicine bottle rests on the nightstand, and the door is secured with a chain from the inside. Police initially suspect a natural death, but security cameras soon reveal an incredible truth. This event marks the beginning of the most meticulously recorded assassination in history, a covert operation that transformed a luxury hotel into an execution chamber right under the lenses of surveillance systems. Over 600 hours of footage show 27 operatives tracking one man through a lavish hotel, disguising themselves as tennis players, tourists, and business people. They entered a locked room without damaging anything, ended his life without leaving traces, and vanished across 3 continents using passports stolen from innocent citizens. The year is 2010, and the world is about to witness the most documented killing ever. This audacious mission was captured on tape, but remains officially unsolved. Known as Operation Plasma Screen, Mossad turned a 5-star hotel into a site of execution directly in front of camera lenses. An Emirates flight landed at Dubai International Airport at 14:30. Mahmoud al-Mabhouh collected his only piece of hand luggage and passed through customs with the ease of a seasoned traveler. His passport identified him as a merchant. The immigration officer stamped it without questions. Outside, the afternoon sun bathed the asphalt, still radiating midday heat. Mahmoud took a taxi and gave the driver the address, the Al Bustan Rotana Hotel. What he could not see were the eyes already watching him. At the exit, a woman in sunglasses observed his passage. Near the baggage carousel, a man pretending to read a newspaper noted the time. In the parking lot, another operative sent a brief message via an encrypted phone. The target, Plasma Screen, had arrived. Mahmoud al-Mabhouh was not his real name, though he had used it for years. Born in the Jabalia refugee camp in the Gaza Strip in 1960, he evolved from a teenager working out in makeshift gyms into one of Hamas's most valuable assets. His specialty was logistics, the silent architecture of war. He did not build bombs or fire rockets. Instead, he managed networks that delivered Iranian weapons to Gaza through Sudan, Egypt, and a maze of tunnels under Rafah. He was the man who supplied Hamas fighters with rockets when needed, anti-tank shells during Israeli armored advances, and money when operations required funding. Israeli intelligence had monitored him for 2 decades. His file at Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv was filled with surveillance photos, intercepted messages, and forensic accounting that tracked millions of dollars flowing through his accounts. He had been on their target list since 1989, when he personally participated in the abduction and execution of 2 Israeli soldiers. One, 21-year-old Avi Sasportas, was captured at a hitchhiking stop, shot 3 times, and buried in a pre-dug grave. The second, Ilan Saadin, was lured into a car by men disguised as Orthodox Jews and killed with a Beretta pistol. Mahmoud posed for photos with both bodies before their burial. For these crimes, his role in arming Hamas, and his position as a bridge between Tehran and Gaza, Mahmoud had what Mossad called a red page, an open authorization for elimination. It had no expiration date. It remained active until officially revoked or successfully carried out. And on that January day when he checked into room 230 at the Rotana, that authorization was close to being executed. Dubai in 2010 was a city obsessed with security. Lieutenant General Dahi Khalfan Tamim, head of Dubai Police, convinced the government to install one of the world's most extensive closed-circuit television networks. American-made cameras covered streets, shopping malls, hotels, and airports. Every major intersection, every lobby, every elevator was under watch. The system was designed to prevent and catch criminals, but it would ultimately document something far more sophisticated. The operatives knew about the cameras. They had studied Dubai's security infrastructure for months, yet they proceeded, not out of recklessness but calculation. The mission timeline was tight. Mahmoud traveled without bodyguards, a rare vulnerability. His security team could not get seats on his flight and was due to arrive the next day. This narrow window was the only opportunity. Mossad planners decided speed was more important than invisibility. They would move quickly, execute the killing precisely, and disappear before Dubai police understood what happened. The first operatives arrived on January 18, a day before Mahmoud. At exactly 6:45, airport cameras recorded two men traveling under the names Michael Bodenhamer and James Leonard Clark. They had European passports and passed through immigration without incident. By noon, two more landed from Paris. Gail Folliard and Kevin Daverin, Irish citizens according to their documents. They checked into separate hotels, established covers as tourists, and awaited instructions. Peter Elvinger arrived at 2:29 the next morning, just hours before Mahmoud's flight. Authorities later described his luggage as suspicious, though they did not specify why. Elvinger was believed to be the field commander, the operational brain coordinating movements. Surveillance footage showed him exiting the terminal, returning inside, briefly meeting another operative, then taking a taxi to his hotel. Every action appeared mundane. Nothing indicated the military precision choreographed beneath the surface. By the time Mahmoud landed that day, 11 operatives were already in position across Dubai. Some waited in hotel lobbies, others sat in rented cars, some wandered through shopping malls, blending with crowds of tourists and expats filling the city. They communicated via encrypted phones routed through numbers in Vienna, Austria. This was a deliberate distraction meant to mask the true command center of the operation. Mahmoud arrived at the Rotana at 15:20. He walked through the lobby with calm confidence, a man accustomed to traveling in hostile environments. He requested a room without a balcony, with sealed windows and only one entrance. The request was standard for someone aware of threats. Hotel staff accommodated him without questions, providing room 230 on the second floor. Before going upstairs, Mahmoud deposited cash and documents in the hotel safe. Then he rode the elevator up, accompanied by two men dressed in tennis outfits and holding rackets. They stood close enough to note his floor, room number, the exact location of his door. Mahmoud did not react to their presence. Tennis players were common in luxury hotels. He had no reason to suspect them. Two lookouts, later identified by their blue and white shirts, spent the next hour pacing the second-floor corridor. One stood near the elevator, making calls on what appeared to be a secure communication device. The other walked back and forth, observing who entered and exited rooms. They scouted the terrain, confirmed security schedules, identified the room directly opposite Mahmoud's, room 237. At 15:47, a woman named Gail arrived at the Fairmont Hotel a few miles away. Investigators believe that was where the final briefing took place. The hit team gathered in a conference room, reviewed the plan one last time, synchronized watches, and confirmed contingency options. By 16:14, Kevin Daverin left the Fairmont and headed toward the Rotana. 2 minutes later, Gail followed. The mechanism was set in motion. Peter Elvinger, the field commander, booked room 237 from the business lounge of a nearby hotel. He made 2 phone calls from that location, one to arrange the room, another to book his own flight out of Dubai via Doha to Zurich. Then he left the lounge and arrived at the Rotana at 16:23. He officially checked in, received an electronic key, and passed it to Kevin in the lobby. He then placed a suitcase next to Kevin and exited the hotel. By 16:40, Elvinger was on his way to the airport. He was scheduled to board a flight at 19:30 and leave before the operation concluded. Kevin and Gail entered room 237 at 16:44 and 17:06, respectively. Over the next hour, 2 more operatives joined them. One, apparently in a wig for disguise. Surveillance cameras recorded Gail exiting at 18:21, carrying several bags to the parking lot where other team members waited. She returned after a few minutes. The room now housed the operational core: Kevin, Gail, and 4 designated executioners. At 18:32, the hit team of 4 entered the Rotana. 2 wore baseball caps, 1 white, 1 dark. The others were in casual shirts, 1 green, 1 blue. They carried a black backpack and a black and white sports bag. Cameras showed them ascending to the 2nd floor and entering room 237. Inside that room, the team would wait for the precise moment to act. Mahmoud briefly left the hotel at 16:23 for reasons never fully clarified. Some reports suggest he met with a banker and a contact from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps at a nearby mall. Others claim he simply went shopping. What is certain is that he returned at 20:04, past Gail in the corridor, who was smiling and talking on the phone, and entered his room. His key worked normally. The door showed no signs of forced entry. He had no reason to suspect anything was wrong. Exactly at 20 o'clock, the hit team attempted to access his room. The hotel's electronic lock system recorded a failed attempt at reprogramming with an unregistered key. They tried to hack the door by recoding it to grant access without deactivating Mahmoud's own key. The technology was sophisticated, likely rehearsed on similar locks during training, but at that moment, a hotel guest stepped out of the elevator. Kevin intercepted the guest, engaging him in conversation while the team either retreated or slipped inside unnoticed. Surveillance cameras, positioned at angles not directly facing the door, failed to capture the exact method of entry. What happened inside room 230 remains partially unknown. Sound was not recorded, and no witnesses were left to describe the sequence. But forensic evidence revealed the brutal efficiency of the operation. First, Mahmoud was immobilized with succinylcholine chloride, a fast-acting muscle relaxant injected into his right thigh. The drug causes paralysis within 60 seconds, leaving the victim conscious, unable to move, unable to scream, fully aware of what is happening. Higher doses shut down respiratory function, leading to death by asphyxiation. The team also used a taser. Burn marks were found on Mahmoud's chest, behind his ear, and on his inner thigh. The shocks were likely intended to mimic cardiac arrest, making the death appear natural. But the final method was suffocation. A pillow stained with his blood was discovered. He bled from the nose as he struggled. Broken slats under the mattress and damage to the headboard indicated fierce resistance. Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, a man called the Fox for his ability to sense danger, fought his killers in silence while Kevin and Gail stood guard outside, ensuring no one interrupted. The entire execution took 20 minutes. By 2046, the first 2 team members exited the hotel, carrying a large sports bag believed to hold the murder tools. One left behind a latex glove. All four rode the elevator together but exited separately to avoid attention. At 20:47, Gail exited, still talking on the phone. Kevin followed at 20:51. The male and female lookouts who had been in the lobby since earlier that evening departed at 20:52. They scattered into the Dubai night, catching taxis in pairs to the airport. Within 12 hours, they dispersed across Europe, Africa, and Asia using forged passports and stolen identities. Mahmoud lay dead in his locked room. The door was chained from the inside. A medicine bottle was placed on the nightstand to suggest an overdose. The scene was staged to look like a natural death in sleep. Investigators took 10 days to establish the truth. Mahmoud's wife tried calling him that night. The phone rang but went unanswered. Hamas headquarters in Damascus grew concerned when he failed to check in. On January 20, around 13:30, the hotel maid discovered his body. He had missed checkout time, and staff went to check. What they found was a man lying peacefully on the bed. No visible wounds, no signs of struggle except for a broken bed frame hidden under the mattress. Initial reports leaned toward natural causes. Sudden hypertension causing brain failure, overdose, cardiac arrest. Only after Dr. Fawzi Benamrin conducted an autopsy did pieces of the puzzle come together. The injection site, electrical burns, traces of succinylcholine chloride still detectable in his tissues, blood on the pillow, bruises on his nose, neck, and head. The official death certificate eventually listed cerebral hemorrhage caused by electric shock from a powerful blow to the head. Dubai police initially did not know who the victim was. Mahmoud traveled under an alias, though Hamas later insisted he used his real name and real passport. The confusion slowed the investigation, but when Hamas finally revealed his identity, Lieutenant General Tamim, the police chief, exploded in rage. "Take yourselves, your bank accounts, your weapons, your fake passports, and get out of my country," he reportedly shouted at Hamas representatives. His anger was not only due to the violation of the Emirates' sovereignty, it was personal. His office was minutes from the Rotana. The murder happened practically under his nose. Tamim ordered his investigators to extract every frame of surveillance footage from airports, hotels, malls, and streets. What emerged was a stunning chronology. 648 hours of video documenting 27 suspects moving through Dubai like ghosts. The recordings showed operatives changing disguises in restrooms, calling on encrypted phones, tracking Mahmoud through lobbies and corridors, coordinating movements with military precision. On February 15, Dubai police held a press conference and released edited video, calling on the public to help identify the criminals. The footage went viral. News agencies worldwide broadcast images of tennis players, the woman in sunglasses, men in baseball caps. Intelligence analysts studied the video frame by frame, admiring the operation's audacity and its exposure. The scandal focused on passports. 11 suspects used carefully forged documents based on stolen identities of real citizens living in Israel. 6 British passports, 3 Irish, 1 French, 1 German. The passport holders were real people, dual citizens, descendants of Holocaust survivors, ordinary citizens unaware their personal data had been compromised. 1 British passport belonged to an Israeli soldier killed in the Yom Kippur War in 1973. Another was linked to a man who had not left Israel for 30 years. Ireland's Department of Foreign Affairs stated the Irish passports were never officially issued. The identification numbers were real, but photos and signatures were fake. France discovered 4 forged passports, including one used by Peter Elvinger. Germany traced the passport of Michael Bodenheimer to a man who claimed citizenship through descent from a Holocaust survivor, a false claim that provided cover for forgery. Diplomatic repercussions were immediate. Britain expelled a senior Israeli diplomat believed to be Mossad's local coordinator. Condemnations echoed across Europe, yet those familiar with intelligence operations recognized these gestures were largely symbolic. Expelling embassy staff signals disapproval, but the seniority of the expelled official indicates the seriousness of the protest. Beyond that, little could be done. Evidence was circumstantial. No one was caught, and the victim was a senior member of a group designated by most Western countries as a terrorist organization. Lieutenant General Tamim publicly stated authorities were 99%, if not 100%, convinced Mossad conducted the operation. He demanded the arrest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Mossad Director Meir Dagan. These statements made headlines but had no legal force. Israel maintained its policy of neither confirming nor denying responsibility. Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman dismissed the allegations as speculation, suggesting perhaps the press watched too many James Bond movies. The operatives belonged to Mossad's elite unit, Caesarea, an organization existing in the space between legend and classified files. Caesarea recruits primarily from Israeli special forces. Sayeret Matkal, Shayetet 13, former commandos trained in close combat, surveillance, and deep penetration. They live under false names in apartments across Europe and the Middle East. Their neighbors do not know who they are. Their families sometimes do not know where they work. Failure is not an option. Success is measured in silence. Mike Harari, a former Caesarea commander, once described the unit's philosophy. We do not apologize for what we do. We do what is necessary to protect our people. Operations are sanctioned at the highest levels. A red page, a kill authorization, requires joint approval from the Prime Minister and Defense Minister. It is not a direct order for immediate action. It is a permission, active indefinitely until revoked or carried out. Mahmoud al-Mabhouh carried a red page since 1989. Caesarea training occurs at secret facilities where even spouses have limited access. Their real names are never disclosed, even in private conversation. They rarely interact with other Mossad units and typically avoid the organization's main headquarters in northern Tel Aviv. When deployed, they operate alone or in small teams, relying on local assets, Sayanim, voluntary helpers embedded in Jewish communities worldwide, who provide logistical support without knowing the full scope of operations. The Dubai mission was prepared for years. Intelligence sources later reported Caesarea members visited Dubai 5 times in the 9 months preceding the assassination. They came in February, March, and June 2009, conducting reconnaissance, mapping security systems, testing entry and exit routes. Their goal was verification, confirming beyond doubt the target was Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, not someone using his name. The lesson of Lillehammer haunted every operation. In 1973, Mossad operatives tracked Ali Hassan Salameh, the Black September operative responsible for the Munich Olympics massacre, to the Norwegian town of Lillehammer. Acting on faulty intelligence, they shot Ahmed Bouchiki, a Moroccan waiter and amateur musician with no ties to terrorism. Agents were arrested, imprisoned, and Israel was forced to pay substantial compensation to the Bouchiki family. The humiliation was deep. Since then, Mossad protocol required thorough identity verification before any lethal action. Operation Plasma Screen achieved its primary objective. Mahmoud al-Mabhouh was eliminated. Hamas lost a critical logistics coordinator. Weapons smuggling routes were disrupted. Iran's direct pipeline to Gaza suffered a significant blow. But the exposure of operational methods created unforeseen consequences. Mossad's relationships with Western intelligence services deteriorated sharply. The use of forged European passports angered allies who previously tolerated Israeli operations, as long as they remained deniable. Britain and France expressed the strongest protests, viewing the passport scandal as a deliberate provocation. France especially worried Hamas might interpret fake French passports as proof of French complicity, potentially stirring tension within France's large Muslim population. In June 2010, the head of Mossad's Caesarea unit, once considered a possible successor to Director Meir Dagan, resigned. It was not accepted, signaling Dagan himself assumed full responsibility for the failure. Reports suggested France sent 2 agents to personally meet Dagan and express disapproval. The message was clear. A line had been unacceptably crossed. However, in Israel, the operation was viewed differently. Though official acknowledgement was never made, the successful elimination of a high-priority target demonstrated Mossad's global reach and operational capabilities. It reinforced the notion that Israeli intelligence could strike anywhere, anytime, against anyone deemed a threat. The message was not lost on Hamas, Hezbollah, or Iran. No defense was absolute, no place truly safe. Interpol added photos of 11 suspects to its most wanted list. Dubai police discovered airport staff had conducted retina scans on the same 11 individuals upon entry. Investigators found DNA from 4 operatives and fingerprints from several more. Biometric data entered international databases, yet no arrests followed. The operatives disappeared into the networks that created them, likely temporarily reassigned to desk work, then deployed on new missions under new names. In December 2010, a mysterious case added another layer to the story. Ben Zaigir, an Australian-Israeli dual citizen and alleged Mossad operative, was found dead in his cell inside Israel's most secure prison, Ayalon facility. His case was so secret that guards knew him only as Prisoner X, never learning his real identity. He was discovered in a cell supposedly suicide-proof, just 2 days after consulting with prominent Israeli criminal lawyer Avigdor Feldman. Unverified reports later suggested Zaigir was involved in the Dubai operation, but betrayed the agency by passing intelligence to Dubai police. Some sources claimed he revealed the hit team's names in exchange for protection. Afterward, authorities allegedly transferred him to a protected facility, but Mossad managed to kidnap him, bring him back to Israel, and isolate him within Ayalon's Block 15. These claims were never independently confirmed. Zaigir's death was officially ruled a suicide, though questions remain about how a high-security prisoner could kill himself in a cell designed to prevent exactly that. What makes Operation Plasma Screen significant is not only the assassination, but the fact it was captured on camera. For the first time, the world could see in forensic detail how a modern intelligence service conducts a targeted killing. 648 hours of video became a case study in operational mastery. Intelligence agencies worldwide analyzed the footage, noting both successes and failures. Successes were obvious: rapid deployment, precise coordination, effective use of disguise and forged documents, clean execution without collateral damage, and escape before local authorities realized what happened. Failures were equally obvious: overconfidence in the face of surveillance, insufficient attention to biometric data collection at airports, reliance on stolen identities that could be traced, and underestimation of Dubai police capabilities. Yet, despite all evidence, no one was ever held accountable. The real names of suspects remain officially unknown. Israel never confirmed Mossad involvement. Dubai issued arrest warrants that will never be executed. Interpol issued red notices that never led to detention. The operatives who entered room 230 and ended Mahmoud al-Mabhouh's life vanished into the same shadows they emerged from, protected by an impenetrable wall of state secrecy. In subsequent years, new figures replaced Mahmoud. Abdulaziz al-Rantisi, his successor, was arrested in the United Arab Emirates in 2011 on suspicion of money laundering linked to Hamas. The networks Mahmoud built continued functioning, though with disruptions. Iran found new intermediaries. Hamas adapted its logistics chains. The cycle of violence continued. Each death fueled the next round of retaliation. Operation Plasma Screen stands as a monument to both the capabilities and limitations of modern intelligence warfare. It demonstrated that, with sufficient resources, planning, and willingness to accept diplomatic consequences, a state can eliminate its enemies anywhere on the planet. But it also showed that in an era of ubiquitous surveillance and digital forensics, true invisibility is no longer possible. Ghosts can still kill, but they can no longer do so without leaving shadows on camera. The hotel cameras stopped recording. The operatives disappeared into airports and train stations across 3 continents. Mahmoud al-Mabhouh's body was returned to Damascus and buried in Yarmouk, where he remains a martyr to many. Dubai police closed the case without arrests. Mossad added another file to its classified archives, and somewhere in Tel Aviv, planners began studying the mistakes, refining methods, preparing for the next red page to be executed. What Operation Plasma Screen revealed is uncomfortable for those who prefer to believe the world functions by law rather than force. It showed that beneath the veneer of international norms and diplomatic protocols, a parallel system exists where certain states grant themselves the right to eliminate threats through violence, wrapped in bureaucratic language and executed with surgical precision. The cameras captured the method. They did not capture the faces behind the masks, the names behind the pseudonyms, or the offices where such decisions are made with signatures instead of triggers. If this story captivated you, please show your support by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with others who might find it intriguing. Your engagement helps us continue uncovering these hidden narratives. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Do operations like Plasma Screen make nations safer, or do they perpetuate endless cycles of violence? We value your perspective and look forward to bringing you more insights in future explorations.